Can I have everyone's attention, please? May I have your attention, please? We want to ask you to take your seat now so we can get started in just a minute or two. How was everyone this evening? Good, good. Good evening to all. My name is Mary Benton. I am a news reporter for the NBC affiliate here in Houston, KPRC Local 2, and I am so pleased to be here tonight among such a diverse group, seasoned professionals representing many industries from many parts of this wonderful country, and the young people that we honor tonight, looking so gorgeous in your green dresses and in your suit jackets. I am, of course, honored to welcome you to Houston. It is very appropriate that we meet in this city. If you didn't know, the city has the shortest recession of any major American city. It is a city that has gained back 120% of the jobs lost in the recession, and a city with no racial majority. Just having jobs is something to be happy about. It has been said by several smart people that if you want to see the United States in 20 years, look to Houston right now. Look at the diversity, and that's something that you can see just looking around this very room, even if you haven't had a chance to go out into the city. Look at its population growth, and this is the number one-way U-Haul destination for 3 straight years. So that means people are hooking up their U-Hauls, they're leaving Cincinnati, they're leaving other parts of the country, and they're coming right here to the H, as some people like to call it. And you can look at its green initiatives and look at the city's leadership and job opportunities for all. If you are planning to build an airport system for your city, then you must look to Houston now to see how to do it right. Houston is a city very committed to the success of its young people. They are our future. And now I'd like to introduce one of those future leaders, Miss Esther Cooper, class of 2013, the Energize for STEM Academy, who will sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much, Esther. That was giving me chills. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Now, please stand. Don't sit down yet. Sorry about that. Please stand and welcome Mr. Jack Thomas of the Amac Educational Scholarship Committee, who will give us our invocation. come up here. You can do that since you're tall.
Thank you. Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you with bowed heads and humble hearts. We thank you for this day. We thank you for bringing the Amac family together once again. We ask that you continue to bless this organization, our members, and our leadership, Father. We ask that you provide us with a great conference, that you guide the speakers and presenters so that they may further inspire us as we return to our communities with a little bit more resolve to carry out the work in your name. We ask that you shed your grace on the young men and women of Project Lift. Put a little wind in their sails so that they may achieve the greatness that is their destiny, Father. We ask for a balm for healing in our communities, in our families, and in our nation. We ask that this food nourish our bodies. In his name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. There are steps right there. But if you're tall, I guess. Please be seated. Thank you so much for those inspirational words. I am pleased now to introduce you to Conference Chair and Community Relations Director of the Houston Airport System, Ms. Rhonda Arnold.
Wow, doesn't this room look wonderful? Give yourselves a round of applause. Wow. Oh, I'm so honored that you guys are here. Welcome, honored guests, students, AMAC board members, colleagues, and friends. Welcome to the Project Lift AMAC Educational Scholarship Program Leadership and Scholarship Dinner. We are honored to have you present with us here today, especially our keynote speaker, Mr. Leland Melvin. The AMAC Educational Scholarship Program is the sister organization to AMAC, and each of them advocate for the education of future leaders in aviation. Its mission of diversity and inclusion should be applauded, and I'm so happy to see all of you here tonight. Today we enjoyed a successful event at Hobby Airport today, which included valued experiences of professionals in the industry, a tour of Hobby, and behind the scenes look at Southwest Airlines. These activities provided a catalyst for our future by preparing, lifting, and leading our talented youth to STEM careers in aviation. It's time to take off in aviation, so please accept my warmest welcome, and I hope you enjoy the evening.
Good evening, I'm Daryl Daniels. I bring you greetings from the AMAC board. Thank you to our host, our sponsors, our guest speaker, our students. We're really excited to be here. We're happy to be in Houston, where it's nice and warm, unlike in Michigan right now, where it's cold. And listen, we look forward to a great conference. Again, this is a great networking opportunity and an opportunity to meet colleagues around the industry, meet and get to know the Houston Airport System and all the great things that they're doing. We look forward to hearing from them tomorrow. Again, thank you for hosting us, and we appreciate being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. And now, thanks to AMAC for their commitment. And now please welcome Gregory Denby from HNTB Corporation, our first-class sponsor of this year's forum.
Thank you, Mary. HNTB is proud to be a sponsor of the conference, and I am so proud to represent our company this evening. HNTB is nearing 100 years of innovative design, planning, and construction of municipal projects. While HNTB has numerous projects in water, highways, bridges, rails, tunnels, and transit, we are certainly proud of our aviation projects. Wilkes-Scranton International, Boston Logan, Charlotte International, LAX, Jacksonville Naval Air Station, Chicago Midway, O'Hare, DFW, Santa Barbara, Wichita Mid-Continent. The list is long, and I'm not going to enumerate. The finest terminals, runways, hangars, and garages built. We take a great pride in these projects and in the management team and partnerships we have established. That's really what guarantees success, isn't it? Partnerships. The aviation industry in the United States thrives because of airport management, and the cities want best for their travelers. We in the design and construction area salute the many small and minority businesses that contribute to the excellence of the industry. Thank you. Thank you for asking us to, Thank you for asking us to be with you during this conference. The employees of H&T-B Corporation salute all of you. Thank you very much. Ms. Benton, thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks to HNTB for their generous sponsorship. Is there a representative of the city here tonight that we'd like to acknowledge, a member of Houston City Council? No? Okay, let's move on to AMAC Executive Director, Shelby Scales, who will make some acknowledgments.
Good evening. I am so proud of our young people tonight. Let's give them another round of applause. On behalf of the board as well as the AMAC national staff, I would personally like to thank the Houston Airport System as serving as our host and presenting sponsor for the conference. Let's give them a round of applause. I especially want to thank our local planning committee, which was led by Ronald Arnold, co-chair, Carlicia Wright, and honorary co-chair Mario Diaz. I'd especially like to thank you for your leadership as well. You did a great job, as you can see here tonight. We especially want to thank our Project Lift committee also, and several of the committee members are in the room. If you'll just wave your hand so that people can recognize you as well. Higher. Don't be shy, Jack and Laverne and several others. We want to thank you again for your commitment to our young people, and particularly for helping the local staff work with the E-Team Academy students. Tonight we have 27 seniors and juniors with us this evening. They are being sponsored. Thank you. The students are being sponsored here tonight by the Missouri City chapter of the Link, so let's give them a round of applause as well. And thank you, Rhonda, for getting our local community involved in this project as well. We also would be remiss if we did not, again, thank our key sponsor here tonight, and we'd like to acknowledge the whole table of HNTB. If you all would just stand so we can say thank you again for supplying us with this great event tonight. And lastly, I would like to ask Mr. Greg Denby again if you would join me along with our chairperson, Mr. Darrell Daniels. We have a token of appreciation for our sponsorship tonight. On behalf of our hosts, airport, the AMAC Board of Directors, and our planning committee, thank you so much for making this a wonderful event for our young people tonight. Is that it? Delicious meal. Good. I'm glad everybody. And please continue to enjoy your meal and your dessert. And again, I am not Jackie Freeze. Jackie could not make it tonight. She is our Project Lift coordinator and committee chair on a national level that works with our local teams as we go into various communities to provide the program. A little bit about Project Lift. Project Lift is AMAC's board challenge to the Scholarship and Education Committee to really reach more students outside of our scholarship program. We've had over the years over $300,000 given to scholarships, but as you all know, and the economy gets tight, we just simply do not have all the resources within our organization to address all the needs of our young people. But we really wanted to challenge ourselves to be creative and look and think outside the box of how we can reach these students in other ways. With our scholarship program, we were reaching about 8 students a year with our awards. And actually, Cedric Curtis, I'm not sure if he's in the room, but he challenged us to really look at the professions in aviation and in the airports, particularly in the area of STEM. And so we kind of tossed around a couple ideas, but we thought, well, we're a national organization. We have a wonderful network of professionals, of business owners that have many opportunities by way of funding as well as internships. Wouldn't it be great to match those professionals with students within the particular marketplaces that we go into? And so we came up with a theme called Leaders Inspiring Future Talent. And in a nutshell, what that means is we asked our local committee to reach out to those professionals that not only represent STEM careers, but other careers in aviation as well, and put together a program where we can expose our high school students to aviation-related careers. And so, as you can see tonight, this is our effort. We've asked many of the students to, network amongst you, learn about what you do, learn about your career track and that sort of thing. We have also, as I said before, partnered with the eSTEM Academy, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. These students are all pursuing careers that will surely be a head start in the 21st century. And as you have heard, in Houston, the eSTEM students have a 100% graduation rate, and more than half receive scholarships. So I think you're in good company, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of some very bright students who have really thought about their career pathways. They're very interested in talking to many of you about your business opportunities, your career path, your educational path. And Rhonda, as I can see in the pictures here, you've done an outstanding job at showing them pilots and operations people, a day with Southwest. So again, we encourage all of you that represent businesses throughout the country to partner with Amac to host a Project Lift program. It's generally a day program, again, where we introduce them to the local airport and the airport businesses on ground and really get those professionals to partner with those students, to mentor them, to educate them about their career path, to educate them about their educational path as well. But after that day is over, let's keep in touch with these students. As you meet the students at your table, we encourage you to get contact information. Certainly a gentleman was asking me about legislation, so Don, raise your hand so he can see you. He wants to be a lawyer, so we know that you were always trying to get folks in the room to work with our students. So definitely spend a little time a little later on meeting some of the students and exposing them to your career path. Again, if we can answer any questions that you might have in relation to hosting one of these events, as you can see, it's a top-notch opportunity for us to mingle with our next generation of aviation professionals. So HNTB, let's look at some of these students and let them know what your requirements are so they can get that planted in their head and make sure that they keep that in mind as they move along in their career track. And with that, I thank the local planning committee, I thank the national planning committee, and all of the professionals that also stopped by to really participate and lend a hand at helping our next generation of aviators. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shelby. I'm going to throw one more career path in there because I know a whole lot of former journalists who are working for airport systems and airlines. So I just want to say to the students that as a reporter, if I can talk to you about just what I did for my career path, maybe you would just want to use some of that information to go on to be a spokesperson for an astronaut, for United Airlines, for Southwest Airlines, for Bush Intercontinental Airport, or Hobby Airport. I hope you consider that as an opportunity as well. And to find out more, I just want to remind everybody to go to amac-org.com to find out more about Project Lift. In just a second, I'm going to call Lance Little up to the stage to introduce our keynote speaker. But in the meantime, I would like to introduce Houston City Council member Larry Green.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mary, and welcome to Houston. We're so pleased that you guys will be conferencing here, and we do appreciate to have the opportunity to host. We'd like to let you know that Houston and the Houston airport system is indeed open for business, and we're so pleased that you decided to be here today. I'd like to first commend HNTB for their partnership, if you will, with the Houston airport system and the Houston community. Let's give them a round of applause for their support. And thank you, Greg. And additionally, Amac, with regard to scholarship and advancing the educational pursuits of our youth, I do want to commend you too for recognizing one of my great schools, the East End Academy, and its Superintendent Lois Bullock. Lois, stand up. Everybody needs to see you. Thank you so much for what you do. They indeed do great work. Obviously, the city of Houston, our mayor, city council, is all about providing opportunities for minority businesses, minority women-owned businesses. We actually are going through a study now, a comment period on our disparity study in construction. And so we're looking to level the playing field, if you will, here in the city of Houston. And that's being led by myself and, of course, our director of Office of Business Opportunity, Ms. Carlicia Wright. Stand up, Carlicia. Let me see you too. And so we're working very hard to provide opportunities, and that's what the city of Houston is all about. We understand that if we all do well, the city grows, as well as opportunities for businesses are able to grow. So we're pleased that you're here. Spend lots of money while you're here, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Green. At this time, I would like to call Lance Little, Chief Operating Officer of the Houston Airport System, up to the stage. He will introduce tonight's keynote speaker.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone. There you go. So before I get started, about a year ago, I had this distinct privilege to serve on a task team that consisted of City of Houston employees, members of the union, and consultants, human resource consultants external to the city. And the purpose of the task team was to review the employee appraisal program that we had for the city and to look at the strengths, weaknesses, and come up with recommendations to either revamp the program or renovate it or make it better, make some recommendation. And we went back and forth for several months. We looked at what private sector companies were doing, other municipalities were doing. But at the end of the day, we came up with a recommendation that basically changed the way how employee evaluation was done. Before, it was more or less job description based, and we think it should be outcome based. It should be result based. We think that the appraisal program should be used as a strategic tool. We wanted to use the appraisal program to bridge the gap between strategy and execution. And so we were now ready to present this to the mayor and to the employees, of course, and the directors. And we're trying to find a story that would resonate with the employees and would resonate with the director and, of course, the mayor. And the ironic thing is, the story that we found was, guess which story that was? Most of you might be familiar with it. It was back in, I guess, 1961 when President John F. Kennedy visited Nassau, right? And he spoke to a janitor there, and he asked the janitor, "What do you do?" And the janitor didn't give the traditional answer about, I sweep or clean the place. He said, "I'm here to help to put men on the moon." The janitor understood how his job was aligned with the strategic objectives of NASA. And that's the same thing we were trying to do as part of that program. We wanted every employee within the city, right, to understand exactly how their job was aligned with the department that they were in and ultimately the city of Houston. Best place to work, best place to play, best place to visit. And so that story resonated with us, and that's the story that we used when we were presenting this, because what we're trying to do was to bridge the gap between execution and strategy. And when reviewing, I was upset with Rhonda before asking me, I have to come out on a Sunday. But when I learned who I was going to introduce, I was like, wow, I really need to do this. Because I was going through Leland's bio, and I see that's exactly what he was doing. He's bridging the gap between strategy and execution. He's laying the foundation, the educational foundation for the future aerospace engineers and the future astronauts of the world. And I'm telling you, his bio is very impressive, and I'm glad they gave me the short version, because the long version, as you see there, have words in there that I can't even pronounce, as I was telling Leland. So we're really honored to have with us tonight a leader who has left his mark on the world in many ways. Leland Melvin is NASA's Associate Administrator for Education. He is responsible for the development and implementation of the agency's education programs and oversees 4 academic fields NASA considers vital: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM. Leland chairs the Education Coordination Committee and is instrumental in making sure education investment are focused on supporting the nation's education efforts to develop the workforce needed to achieve NASA's goals and objectives. Leland currently serves on the White House National Science and Technology Council's Committee on Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Education, or COSTEM. Leland started his career as an aerospace research engineer at the Langley Research Center. He entered NASA's astronaut corps in 1998. Leland served as a mission specialist operating the robotic arm on 2 space shuttle missions to the International Space Station. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry from the University of Richmond, where he was a wide receiver for the Spiders football team. He was drafted into the NFL by the Detroit Lions, later played for Dallas Cowboys, but we're not going to hold that against him. Please join me in welcoming Leland Melvin.
I'm very honored to be back in Houston. I had my U-Haul, Mary. I drove my U-Haul to D.C. about 2.5 years ago, and I'm thinking about having to make that trip back here because this is such a warm community of people that are trying to change the world through our youth. And I've had some fantastic opportunities in my life, starting with my parents as middle school teachers, who to this day in Lynchburg, Virginia, when I go home to talk to people in the community, people seek me out to tell me the impact that my parents had on their lives. One young man comes up to me and says, if it wasn't for your dad, I'd be in jail or on drugs. One young lady tells me if it wasn't for your mother, I would have probably been pregnant and who knows where. And they tell me these stories with their families in tow. So my parents not only had an impact on those 2 individuals, but the entire community. So when I think about what you're doing in education to help inspire and mold these students into being future leaders and developers and whoever knows, and commissioners of airports, thank you for what you're doing with these students, because it's a testament to our future society and civilization. So thank you very much. Lance, thank you for the warm introduction. I'm not going to go through this. Let me move this away. I'm not going to go through this. You kind of hit the high points. But when I was in space, I had an opportunity to play football. And we took up a jersey from Andre Johnson. So I became a Texan from the Cowboys. So don't hold that Dallas thing against me, okay? But I think about, and as I talk to the students today, I think about what inspired me, what got me to this position to be a United States of America, African-American astronaut who's flown in space 2 times. And it was a childhood filled with parents who inspired and motivated me to do many different things. But when I first talked to my father about getting me a skateboard, I said, Dad, I want a skateboard. He said, we don't have the money. And he said, you figure it out. And so that's when I went to the wood shop, cut a piece of wood into the shape of a skateboard. I got a paper route, and I did some other odd jobs. I bought the trucks and the wheels, and I built my skateboard from my own hands. And I was talking to Gregory earlier, we have stopped building things in this country. We build things, but we have to get the students to start thinking about if you want something, how do you create it yourself? You don't just have to go buy it. Start about thinking about being innovative and creative yourself. And so this was my first step as being an engineer. I had a problem. I wanted to skateboard. The solution was get a piece of wood, get on a lathe, cut it out, make some money to buy the wheels on the trucks that I couldn't make, and there I had a skateboard. So think about ingenuity, creativity to solve problems, and that's exactly what we do in this aviation community. A little later in my life, my mother gave me a chemistry set. Now, this is back in the day when age appropriateness wasn't associated with chemistry sets, because in my chemistry set, I had chemicals that could blow things up. And I mixed these two dissimilar chemicals and created the most fantastic explosion ever known to humankind in my mother's living room. Burned a hole in her rug. She had a hand in my development. And that's back when you could have more hands in your development. And the whole community had a hand in my development when I acted up in school. And that was a part of, helping raise a child in the community. But this one chemistry set fueled my curiosity. And I'll show you where that led me. I also love sports. I played football ever since I was in 4th grade, football, basketball, and tennis. And I think about as you grow up as future leaders and scientists and engineers and working in aviation, think about all the different things that come together to make a solution, whether it's in the arts. We talk about STEM, but there's also STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Because as I floated in space and talked to Quincy Jones, I was playing his music in space, and Quincy said to me, he said, Leland, math and music are the only two true absolutes that use both the right and left side of the brain. So if you know math, you know music. If you know music, you know math. And those two combined can help you come up with more innovative and creative solutions. So where did that lead me? Led me to being a snowboarder, made a little bit more money, could buy a snowboard, became a mad scientist, chemistry major at the University of Richmond, and then got drafted to the Lions and then went on to the Cowboys, who cut me, who then I became a Texan. But all of these things that I started out doing as a child helped define me, helped motivate me. And all of those things were built around STEM education. And I think as we grow as a community of building and developing, creating things to help our economy, as you know, we're trying to come out of this recession, it starts with creating and building. And students, I told them earlier, I said, how many of you have smartphones? How many of you have smartphones? Most of you. Not just the students, how many adults have smartphones? Okay. How many of you play Angry Birds? You know about it, right? Angry Birds, in 3 days, sold 10 million copies for 99 cents. And so if one of these kids in here, or one of you, developed Angry Birds 3, you could get paid. And so being a creator, not just a user of the technology, is one of the things that we have to make sure our kids know about. 86, 11th round draft choice, Detroit Lions. We just do this. Take that off. Bachelor's degree in chemistry, master's in materials science, worked as an engineer for 10 years at NASA Langley Research Center using optical fibers as sensors instead of for communication. And as I was doing research, a friend of mine came up and handed me an application and said, Leland, you'd be a great astronaut. What? Astronaut? What are you talking about? I didn't see myself in that role. I didn't see people that looked like me. I hadn't seen that. And so when I looked at that application and set it down, I didn't even apply. That same year, a friend of mine, Charlie Camardo, who I work with, he applied to the astronaut corps and he got in. And that's when the competition set in. I said, wait a minute. If NASA's letting knuckleheads like that in to become astronauts, why can't I? And so that next selection I applied, 2,500 people applied for 25 spots, and I was one that got in. And I think it was, thank you. I think it was the fact that I had this varied background. I like music, I like math, I like science, I played sports. It was kind of a number of things that collectively would work in space. This is our class, 17th astronaut class. We call ourselves the Penguins. I guess, can you find me in there anywhere? Oh, yeah, there's Lee. Hmm. But anyway, land survival training, water survival training, lots of different training to get us ready for space flight. I'm not going to show you this full video here, but it's amazing people coming from all around the world for a common goal of working together to advance civilization. Not to advance one country, but to advance civilization. And that's what we do as human beings. When I interviewed in Houston for my astronaut interview, John Young, who was the first pilot of the first space shuttle that flew, came up to me and said, Leland, if we stop exploring as a civilization, we will falter. And that is so true. We have to keep going with the research. We have to keep developing. We have to keep motivating our kids in STEM education. Now, when I joined NASA as an astronaut, I had never flown an airplane before. I had never been in a Cessna. I'd flown in a plane, but I'd never flown a plane myself. So they gave me 20 hours of Cessna training. And Lance is talking about they've started an aviation program at Hobby. And I turned him on, well, the whole airport system, but I turned him on to a friend of mine in Denver who started an organization called Shades of Blue. And they're giving students in high school ground school. They're teaching them how to fly to get them interested in aviation careers. So that's a good model to take a look at for future. But I had never flown. They gave me 20 hours in a Cessna and then threw me into this Mach 1.3 T-38. I'm flying back here, the pilot's up here. On my first flight, I'm going out into this working area. So we're flying around and they're trying to show us some, aerobatics. And they give me the stick. They say, Leland, do an aileron roll. And I say, okay, how fast should I do this? They say, oh, you can do it however fast you want. I take the stick and slam it to the left, and we're doing all these rolls. And the woman who's the pilot at the time, Stephanie Wells, she says, okay, Cal, where's my jet? Because I was getting her sick. And it was just amazing how quickly and responsive these jets are. But these jets are used as a training tool to get us ready to fly in space for our shuttle flights. 2008 and 2009 were the two missions that I flew, STS-122 and STS-129. On this first flight, my job was to be in charge of all of the robotics. So you see here myself, Dan Tani, and Leo Eihart's by the robotics workstation. And I was telling Lance this little story about how I told Gregory, my job was to take this multi-billion-dollar asset, which was built by the European Space Agency, and attach it to the International Space Station at this point right here, using this Canada-built robotic arm. When I first got the assignment, there were a number of German flight controllers here in Houston having a meeting talking about Columbus. And they were high-fiving me, saying, congratulations, you're going to install our module. And as I was walking out of the room, this one flight controller turned to me and said, Mr. Melvin, we've been waiting 10 years to install this. Don't screw it up. So as I'm flying the robotic arm, this module is starting to get closer to this module, and I'm pulling on the hand controller, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, don't screw it up. And we get to this point in the getting closer, there's these little devices called ready-to-latch indicators. They're these little spring-loaded devices that let you know that you're getting close, and there are 4 of them, so you know if you're in the right orientation. And the module's coming, hits the ready-to-latch indicators, and then it just stops. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm about to screw it up. Then I said, no, that's a spring force. And I had to pull just a little bit more, and they all lit up. And so my job was done, basically, on that mission, successfully install this multi-billion-dollar module, and I didn't screw it up. So people think about, what was your most incredible moment in space? Was it installing this multi-billion-dollar module? Was it working with people from around the world? And after this module docked, we were over in the Russian segment, this is the Russian segment, having a meal. We were breaking bread, traveling at 17,500 miles per hour, going around the planet every 90 minutes, seeing a sunrise and a sunset every 45 minutes. And when you look at this picture, you see people from all around the world. We had our first female commander of the International Space Station. She was large and in charge of every man on board. So ladies, You can do it just like the men, right? Right? I want to hear you. Okay, thank you. But if you look at this picture, you see African American, Asian American, French, German, Russian, the first female commander, breaking bread at 17,500 miles per hour. And we even got the hot sauce up there. Little hot sauces. In space, you know, your taste buds aren't as sensitive sometimes. And so this was, I think, one of the most incredible moments for me because it showed how humanity comes together to solve problems and find solutions. Okay, so I've got the Detroit Lions jersey. Okay, we cover this up. Okay. All right, so next I'm going to show a little video clip of what it's like to work and live in space. After sitting on the launch pad for about 3.5 hours, we had our command center, the launch director, was talking to our commander.
We'll see you back here just after Thanksgiving.
We're excited to take this incredible vehicle for a ride and meet up with another incredible vehicle, the International Space Station. So with that, thank you very much for all you've done. And everybody across the country that's participated, we're ready to go.
How many people have been to a shuttle launch?
NTD, with that, you are clear to launch Atlanta.
Copy, clear to launch.
Firing chain is armed. Sound suppression water system activated. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So this is me right here. We're heading off to space. This is my second mission. I've got a mirror on my sleeve, looking through the mirror in the overhead window, looking at this plume going down on the ground, seeing the location where my parents and family were actually sitting. So I felt this connection with the ground up to the shuttle and us traveling together as one humanity going up. And after about 2.5 minutes of solid rocket boosters jettison, 8.5 minutes later, we're in space. So you see the external tank's going to fall back down to the Earth, and now we are ready to get to work. On this mission, we were installing spare parts to the space station for the shuttle retirement. And so all the students here who play video, raise your hand if you play video games. Video games? So if you've played video games, you are already trained to be a robotic arm operator. I mean, seriously, all the training that we did was on a simulator. Just like in the aviation community, you have simulators that train you how to fly an airplane before you get an airplane. So the skills that you have already learned as a master, video game player, you can translate those skills into aviation, into robotics, into anything. And so my job, again, was to take these spare parts. My job was also to take a hit. That was Dallas in the Texas. No. And then, stupid astronaut tricks like eating Raisinets. Here's how you transfer items in space. You use your legs lots of times because you have to stop yourself with your hands. And here's Randy in the gym module. Look, Mom, no hands. Food is very important in space, so we had Euro night, so we're sharing food from around the world. We have our Russian colleagues there watching, and we brought home Nicole Stott, the woman in the purple there. She was in space for 4 months. And here's me floating food to my mouth. And there's Bobby, Dr. Bobby Satcher there. We were the first time that 2 African-American men were in space at the same time. Tom Joyner called us and interviewed us in space. Sybil got on the line and said, "Look at them, the Afronauts." It was crazy. We had a great time. In space for about 11 days. The commanders are shaking hands. I'm playing with my food again. This is physics and this is surface chemistry, surface tension right there with M&Ms and water bubbles. And when I talk to students, they all want to be astronauts after they see me playing with my food. The G's are starting to build back up as we come home. We have, there's a 3,000-degree plasma coming over the shuttle as we come in. The towels are keeping us safe. Heads-up display as we use in aviation to line us up on the runway. Butch Wilmore, he's the pilot. His job at 300 knots is to lower the landing gear. Very, very critical job so you don't come in belly up. And as you see here, he did a fantastic job. Gear down and locked. We line up on the runway. Charlie Hobaugh, Marine commander, was the pilot. You see the energy that's increased when you land. The wheels are spinning up quite heavily. Drag chute comes out, helps us derotate down. We spent 14 days in space, 4.9 million miles going around the planet. If I could only have half of those frequent flyer miles, I'd be set for life. And as you see, we come in. It was a beautiful day. I was just very blessed and honored to be part of this fantastic team. If you look here, here's Charlie Bolden, our administrator, NASA administrator, shaking our hands. When you think about how far we've come as a civilization to have an African-American president, a NASA administrator African-American, and 2 African-American men on this shuttle flight, it was just fantastic. And I'm very honored and blessed to have had that opportunity. And I think about, playing football in space. Here's a Texans jersey. Andre Johnson gave me his jersey to take to space. And there's Bobby in a Redskins jersey. And we had a little football game in space. And then I gave back the jersey to Andre. We signed it and gave it back to him. He was a very, very nice guy. Very nice guy. Some of the other things for the International Space Station, we have a lot of small businesses that are part of the servicing of the International Space Station. You think of ISS flying around the planet at night, you can see this star going by if you look up from the horizon, and it's just a fantastic vehicle about the size of a football field. And we have so many things that are going on ISS, from materials processing to biological systems being looked at for us leaving our planet Earth and maybe living on Mars or another planet one day. We have things like Robonaut, that is a robot that can help astronauts and assist astronauts in different things, controlled by teams on the ground. But one day we're going to get Robonaut to be more autonomous and do things. And this was a partnership with GM, working with NASA to put this in place. We also have more than just astronauts with NASA. We have space farmers, educators. We've got robotics instructors, engineers, scientists, payload communicators, microbiologists, spacesuit designers. So there's jobs for everyone at NASA. And I think about the economic impact of the money that goes into NASA, of our $17.8 billion. 80 cents on every dollar is invested in so many areas. 12.5 billion are obligated to the American industry. So from aviation to aerospace, we have $941 million going to educational institutions. And so I think about the money that's invested throughout the nation for NASA. It services so many different areas. Also in the aviation area, if you think about air transportation systems, how critical they are to our economy, $1.3 trillion of total U.S. economic activity in aviation. $47 billion for positive trade balance, and 10.2 million direct and indirect jobs. 10.2 million jobs. And that's why it's so important, students in here, that as you're looking at your future employers, how you can bring your creative solutions to their problems. This is the marriage of you working now to start that career that you want to do with these professionals here. And I also mentioned to you in the meeting before, find someone in this room that you want to take their job one day and ask them what their path was to get there. It could have been all over the place. That's their path. And then maybe ask another person, and you might synthesize their paths to get to where you want to go. But always look at them as a mentor, as a role model, as an expert system. You also talk about the research that we've done at NASA in so many areas, from the winglets to engine nozzle chevrons to fly-by-wire from back in the day, computational fluid dynamics, all things that fuel the economics of aviation. And I've done a lot of work at Langley looking at using optical fibers as sensors for looking at damage in aerospace vehicles. Small business, I think of the office that we have, the NASA Office for Small Business Programs. If you go to this website down here, osbp.nasa.gov, to find out how we can have better relationships with small business and women-owned and disadvantaged businesses, I think this is a good place to start. Glenn Delgado is the Associate Administrator for Small Businesses, so please do check him out, because I've told him I was coming here, and he's waiting for your calls to see how you can better partner with NASA. And then also some of the things that we do in aeronautics for aviation community, industry and academia, SAAs and RAs, technology roundtables, interagency collaboration with FAA. We just finished working with the FAA on some scholarships and programs for students that's going to be done every year now. And then Aeronautics Science and Technology Subcommittee, the national R&D plan, so how we can again partner with industry and government to ensure that we have a very vital aviation system. If you think about STEM education and you look at our vision statement, is to advance high quality STEM education using NASA's unique capabilities. On the committee that Lance talked about, I'm working with all the other federal agencies that do STEM to see how we can leverage our dollars to have better STEM programs. So I can bring a certain uniqueness to the table. NOAA, Department of Education, NSF, all have roles to play. And I think about it as the stone soup of education. I may have a rock, somebody may have some water, you've got some meat. We all put this together and make a great stone soup with our unique assets. So that's something we're really trying to work on with the 5-year plan that we have due to the president soon. For the students in here, we have a college program when you race moon buggies at Marshall. First Robotics is something we're doing a lot of work with. I don't know if you guys have our First Robotics team. Okay, well, we need some more mentors to come down and help you with your team. Other things we're doing, International Space Station, educating students in STEM. We just launched on SpaceX's Dragon student-run experiments. It went up to the space station, and Sonny Williams, one of my classmates, actually performed the experiments in space, and they came back down on the Dragon capsule. So looking at ways that you can be part of the ISS or doing research, even as high school students, is something that you can do. Zero Robotics, high school students can program these robotic spheres to actually do competitions from around the world. And it's only, all you need is a laptop and internet connection to code in the cloud. We're using the Amazon cloud. So ways that we can have competitions virtually from anywhere in the world. And then we have Astronautics Academy, which is an intensive 10-week resident summer institute for college students. It's at one of the NASA centers, Ames, Dryden, or Glenn and Langley. And you can go to nasa.gov/education and look at how you can get one of these types of opportunities. Also, we have these aeronautics scholarship programs. And the place that I want all the students to go when especially the ones that are going to college, if you go and look at intern.nasa.gov, it's a website that has all the opportunities for getting money from NASA for your college, but also there are internships for high school students called Inspire. So take a look at intern.nasa.gov for these opportunities, because these are dollars that you can use. And another thing we worked with is Space Lab for YouTube. We had students actually doing experiments in space through a competition, a national competition for looking at things in space. These are some of the winning experiments. And many of you know about Curiosity, the rover that's on Mars right now, right? How many of you know about Curiosity? Okay, a few of you. Well, Curiosity landed on Mars on August the 6th. And there have been a number of small or disadvantaged or women-owned businesses that were part of this, getting this Curiosity rover to the Martian surface. So if you look at some of these companies, Honeybee Robotics, small dust removal tools, so some of those areas on that payload for Curiosity help get this thing to Mars safely and getting the data back from the Martian surface. Pretty incredible. And then if you think about it from a STEM education standpoint, we partnered with will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas. will.i.am wrote a song called Reach for the Stars. You can download it from iTunes. I'm not promoting that, but it's a song about inspiration and hope. And we beamed the song to the rover on Mars. Then we beamed it back and kicked off a program to try to reach 35 million kids to look at STEM education and the arts. And so music and math, they're all combined to be the same thing for both the most creativity and innovation. And if you look at some of the other things we're doing with social media, Facebook and Twitter, you can actually do something where you tweet and find a mentor. You can actually, through Twitter, you can actually see how you can find out another path for if you want to be a aerospace engineer. Finding a mentor through Twitter is something we're looking at doing too, mentorships and those role models. There's an app called Sector 33, which teaches you how to use vectors and timing to land airplanes on a runway, multiple airplanes coming in. So if you don't have this app, this is the free app from NASA. Download it, Sector 33. We also have other apps that you can download and look at. I mentioned this website, intern.nasa.gov, internships, fellowships, and scholarships. in all student opportunities. So whatever you want to look at doing at NASA, go through this one portal to see what you can do. And spin-offs, you know, one of the most incredible spin-offs from what seemed to be a failure was the Hubble telescope when it first went up. The Hubble telescope needed corrective vision. And while we were waiting to fix the Hubble, there were some scientists that actually developed some code to make those blurry images clearer. Well, that transferred over to some doctors at Johns Hopkins that took the code and looked at mammograms and were looking at making the mammogram images clearer to see if there were things for women's breast cancer. And so how many women's lives were saved by code that was developed for looking at astronomy pictures? And so again, thinking creatively, how can I use what I have to spin off to something else? For those of you who have braces, we help develop invisible braces. Go NASA. And this lastly is going to show you this video clip. I need to try to show this. Because this is the thing that gets students over the edge to want to be astronauts.
All right.
And this is all surface tension and surface chemistry.
Let me do that before you start doing that.
Too late.
Ooh, looks yummy. Yeah, that's my sandwich, man.
We need to do a cross-camera.
So what I'm trying to do here is create the largest water bubble known to humankind. And then I want to put M&Ms in it and drink it without choking to death. That's my goal in space. This is after I've done all my tasks and my work. You know, because you work hard, you play hard, right?
Separate the straws somehow. Oh, there's M&M's up there.
You want more there.
It has to be big. It has to be small enough to be able to eat one.
There you
one
go.
hit.
Yeah.
Oh, a surface one. Look at that.
Surface.
Have we seen a surface one?
Very
I
cool.
know it can't capture.
Two surface.
Hang on a second. Let's get this one.
Whoa.
And these are, by the way, called stupid astronaut tricks.
That could be a meal,
You want to hold that? Oh, I got it.
Knock one out?
It's like
It's like croquet.
or I was billiards.
Are you ready for separation?
Separate. Hold on, one more.
Oh, man.
What's the
Dude.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Curling? That's going to be a meal, man.
Yeah.
That's 2 sips. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, don't choke on it.
Good blobology.
Go for it, L-Dog.
You got
it. Whoa, almost on the lens.
I know. More water than you think.
My mother would have killed me if I choked to death. All right, that's the end of my presentation. Kind of some things. What's next for NASA? You know, Curiosity, Dream Chaser, Space Launch System, SpaceX Dragon commercial flight. Maybe go to have humans on Mars or an asteroid one day. We're trying to look at how we can do more to inspire and motivate that next generation of explorers. You guys in this room, I'm so proud of you, and I know you're going to have bright futures. And we in this room all believe in you, and we want you to be that next generation of explorers. So thank you very much. God bless you. Live your dreams. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, let's give him another round of applause. I wish every high school student across the country had an opportunity to listen to you speak, because you have a way of just really breaking it down and making it real. Makes this journalism major want to go back and be an astronaut. But except for journalism, we only needed 3 hours of math, so I don't think I could do it. We didn't need the other stuff. At this time now, we're going to recognize our scholarship recipients, and I would like to ask Shelby Scales to join me on stage. And also, you saw her earlier. I'd also like to once again acknowledge Lois Bullock, who's the founder and the head of School for Eastham Academy. If you would stand again. We are so proud of your students. They do an incredible job.
Mr. Melvin, if I could have you join me on stage as well as Mr. Daniels, please. Before we give the awards, we just do want to thank you again with a token of appreciation. We really were inspired. I know I was, and I wish that we could have recorded your presentation for some of our students, but we look forward to partnering with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay. Before we, Carlicia, please. Thank you. I'm filling in for our scholarship person, but thank you anyway. Okay, our criteria for selecting our award winners is just as the same of our national scholarship program. We ask our applicants to completely submit an application. We review their GPA, which counts towards points. They are to submit an essay that talks about their career path, and they also are to submit 2 reference letters from either educators that know their academic record and a community person that they work with in terms of their community outreach and their volunteerism, because that's also part of the criteria. We're looking for very well-rounded students that are not just excellent in academics, but they also give back to the community in terms of their volunteerism. We also want to add, Goodwill, if you'll stand and address the audience as well, our regional director for the Southwest. And on stage, Ms. Carlicia Wright with the city and Rhonda Arnold approach AMAC at really how can we give back to the Southwest region in terms of our students. So we were very happy to partner with the STEM Academy and have such a great pool of applicants for the scholarship program here in the Southwest. So with that, I'd like to, and this is all a surprise to the students in terms of our award winners. So Argentina, if you could help me. We are going to give out tonight 4 awards. The first 2 award winners will receive a $1,000 scholarship to help with their tuition and books towards their college education. And so our first award winner is Miss Kiera Brown, who's majoring in business management. The selection committee had a hard time. We had so many well-qualified students. Thank you. Okay, our second student for a $1,000 scholarship goes to Abby Williams, a biochemistry major. Great. And the competition gets stiff here. We go up a level to $2,000 in award. And our first recipient is Miss Joanna Flores. I'm sure these pictures are on YouTube and Facebook already. And last but not least, our final award for $2,000 goes to Mr. Ryan Knowles. And Ryan hopes to be a pilot. Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. So in all, we have a biochemistry major, 2 business management majors, and a pilot. So I think we're off to a great start. And again, let me just say that thank you again, HNTB, as well as our other major sponsors who all contributed towards the scholarship pool for the Southwest region. So your dollars are going back directly into your community, and we really appreciate that. But we want to challenge other members in the audience and other marketplaces to please look at this as a model program. We look forward to partnering with you as well as your other major businesses within the community to help encourage our young people to be the next generation of aviators. So again, thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much for the school partnering with us. And young people, we really look forward to some great things, and we want to see you continue to be in AMAC's presence. So again, thank you so much.
Congratulations again to the students. Please welcome again Miss Esther Cooper and Gabrielle Sampson, class of 2013, energized for STEM Academy, to perform.
I used to think that I could not go on, and life was nothing but an awful song. But now I know the meaning of true love. I'm leaning on the everlasting arms. If I could see it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. I'd spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. I see me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. See, I was on the verge of breaking down, and sometimes silence can seem so loud. And there are miracles in life I must achieve. But first I know it starts inside of me. Oh, if I could see it, then I can be it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. I spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. I see me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. Oh, see, I was on the verge of breaking down.
I think these two ladies prove that you can be smart in science, technology, engineering, and math, and have true talent as singers. Let's give them another round of applause. Well, my duties are coming to a close, but I want to again thank the conference committee for asking me to MC this evening's festivities. And what could be more festive than young people, young talented people, our future, networking here tonight, partnership opportunities, and really great speakers. I'll now ask Ms. Carlicia Wright, Honorary Co-Chair of the Conference and Director of the City of Houston Office of Business Opportunity, to close out our evening.
Thank you, Mary. Let's everyone give Mary a round of applause for really facilitating tonight's event. She kept us on point. I'd also like to thank Mr. Melvin for your inspiration to our future leaders, and to congratulate all the scholarship recipients, and to congratulate the STEM Academy your commitment to today. And I know that, Sunday is, you got to go to school tomorrow, but Sunday, committing your Sunday to really being inspired by the leadership is just a tremendous commitment from each of you. So I'd like to congratulate each of you. And so I'd like to say that the City of Houston, alongside the Houston Airport System, is so thrilled that AMAC has decided to host its economic forum here in Houston, and so we're excited that you guys are here. The City of Houston is really committed to small and minority and women-owned businesses. Last year, the city awarded $339 million. That was 28% of the city's spending to local, small, minority, and women-owned businesses. And so while you guys are going through E-STEM, I know we've got some business administration majors out there, and you're going to go on to major in business administration. I also would like to encourage entrepreneurship. You saw Mr. Melvin spoke about all the tremendous amount of opportunity that Nassau spends, but there are tremendous amount of opportunities for entrepreneurs as well. And so I'd like to also encourage you guys to think about really facilitating and leading and growing and being a partner to just different organizations like Nassau and the City of Houston. And so I'd like to, really just thank the entire committee, Rhonda Arnold and AMAC, for really bringing this together. It was a lot of work. And so I don't want to keep you. It's the end of the night. And so my closing remarks are to all of you students. I wish you the best in your future. But the remarks to the conference participants, the City of Houston, the Houston Airport System is open for business, and this is a great opportunity to talk about the opportunities in our region. And so I look forward to speaking with the conference participants throughout the next 2 days. Thank you. Have a good night.